Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a review for the film Invictus, and this is directed by Clint Eastwood. And it stars Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela, which, if that doesn't scream Oscar for you, then nothing will. And it also stars Matt Damon. And this is a movie that takes place in the mid 90s, and it's about Nelson Mandela becoming the president of South Africa. And when he becomes the president, he realizes that his country has a lot of problems, obviously, because every country does. But his country is very disjointed. And basically, what he wants, his objective is to bring his country together. So he uses the unlikely game of rugby to unite his country as one, because I guess over there, rugby is a real treat. And so that's basically what he does. He's taking the game of rugby as a way to bring his country together as one. And this is where Matt Damon comes in because he is the captain of a professional rugby team in South Africa. And as I said before, this is directed by Clint Eastwood. And if you haven't figured out, Clint Eastwood is a pretty good director. For this decade, he's done a lot of really great movies. And for me, he's hit or miss, but I think that there's one thing that is always consistent with his work, and that's his way of handling actors and his direction. What I really like about his direction is that he's a very subtle director. Everything is very simplistic in his work. There's no tricky camera moves. Everything is very, not bland, but simple enough for you to really sink your teeth into the dialogue and into the performances. And also, he has a very monotone look about it, so nothing distracts you from what's going on screen. And as well, he's really great with actors. Usually, his actors there's usually great ensemble work in his films, Mystic River, $1 Million Baby, and etc. And in this film, same thing. Morgan Freeman, of course, is a wonderful actor, as everyone knows. And he's Nelson Mandela, and he does an excellent job, I think. I don't think that it is the greatest performance he's ever given, but I do like him very much, mainly because Morgan Freeman is he's one of those actors, those that you can always rely on. And when he plays Nelson Mandela, he's got a warmth to his, warmth to his personality and to his expression, and he's kind of like a grandfather, someone that you just want to go over and give a hug. He's just a really pleasant, humble human being, and he's got a twinkle in his eye, but at the same time, he's also got sadness in his eyes. And I think that's crucial for Nelson Mandela, and I think you couldn't pick a more capable actor than Morgan Freeman to play Nelson Mandela. So he does a great job. As I said, it's not a brilliant performance and is not going to knock down the Academy Awards, but I definitely think he will be nominated, and he's worthy of being nominated. And as well, Matt Damon's in the movie as well. And Matt Damon is also very good. He's also a very reliable actor, someone that you can always count on to deliver. He's very, very reliable. And he's younger, of course, so he's that strapping young guy that just everyone loves. And he's got a great smile, and he's really hot, so that's a plus. And so I think the two of them together are kind of unlikely matches who kind of struggle with the same issues, of course, different territories, of course, but they are similar in many ways. And both of them represent ways of uniting the country of South Africa. But I think where this movie runs into a lot of problems is definitely in the game of rugby. I don't know much about rugby, but the problem is that it becomes, later into the movie, I say the last third of it, it just descends into this typical sports movie it just becomes about the game of rugby, and you lose you lose the complexity of the roles and of the script. And the problem here is that, we know, as I said before, Clint Eastwood is a wonderful director, but this movie is, it's meant to be kind of corny, uplifting, inspirational picture. But there's a point to where that just goes over the line. And there's a lot of ways that this movie could have been a lot better. But I think the one thing that really saves this movie is Clint Eastwood, because the fact that he is such a subtle director, he's such a minimalist director with, very simple camera movements, it kind of lets the movie doesn't go into that over dramatic sense of filmmaking, and it's not so overly inspirational that just becomes really, really sappy. So I think that the fact that Clint Eastwood is able to tone it down kind of elevates the material and brings a more human quality to it. And I guess, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say this movie didn't move me a little bit, because it did. The movie kind of darts back and forth between the game of rugby to Nelson Mandela watching to all of the country watching on their TVs, eagerly awaiting what will happen, who will win, and all of that. And you know who's going to win, but it is kind of wonderful and kind of exhilarating to watch, you know, all of the faces of the people and the cheering of the crowds. And I mean, obviously, it's a given that if you see a huge crowd, massive roaring crowds, audiences, and cheering and all of that, and you hear the African music, it is going to move you, because that's just, I mean, that's just how it is. And it did me, I'm not going to lie. But at the same time, when it was finished, I thought, you know, this could have been a lot better, and there were a lot of problems with the movie because of its, I guess, inspirational quality. It's just not to the level of many of the other Clint Eastwood pictures, and the script isn't up to that level either. And, you know, normally I'm very used to Clint Eastwood and his ensembles being very special, his scripts, or, I mean, I know he doesn't write them, but he chooses many scripts that really have bite and wit to them. And this one did not have that same quality. And that's the problem it runs into. It becomes a little bit more commercial than I would have liked. But regardless, I do think it is an enjoyable picture. And if you do want to see it, I'll tell you, go ahead. But I would say don't pay full price for it. Maybe go to a matinee or just rent it. I mean, I think this should be seen on a bigger screen just because you don't get the same visceral impact of the rugby game, and you don't feel the intensity of the moment. But besides that, I really don't think that this is anything that's that special. I mean, of course it's going to get nominated because it is that kind of uplifting Oscar movie that everyone loves. But it did fall short for me. I liked it okay. And, if you want to rent it or something, go ahead. And it's worth it just for the performances, I'd say, and because Clint Eastwood is, a really good director. But yeah, this is nothing that's really going to stand out as one of the best of the decade. It's no Mystic River or anything like that. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I have to say about it. So I'll catch you guys later.